Hey kids, do you like professional wrestling? Well, we like professional wrestling too. This is Shake Them Ropes. I am Jeff Hawkins, ensconced
I
in the
am
Twitter.
Chris Novembrino.
Damn it, I was gonna intro you in a moment. Don't jump
No,
on
I
my.
can do my own thing.
Well, you can host one of these days too if you'd like.
Oh, I can. Oh, okay, welcome to Shake Them Ropes. The internet's number one place for wrestling content in America. My name is Christopher Michael Novembrino. It is a pleasure to be with you here today. And my guest on the show today is one Jeffrey Hawkins from
Hawkins.
I know your name.
Turn on your mic, by the way. I think it's
my
off.
mic. I think the mic's on.
Okay, never mind.
Am I not using my microphone voice?
Doesn't-
Oh, you know what? Now I'm using my microphone. Gentlemen, hello and welcome to Shake Them Ropes, America's number one
This is the
internet wrestling content show. My name is Christopher Michael Novembrino. Joining me on the show today is one Jeffrey Hawkins from what's the other show you do?
It's HAWKINS. There's no G in my name.
I know.
It's actually printed on the Zoom if you look at it.
We have been friends for years. You think I don't know your last name?
I don't know. A lot of people think I'm like related to Stephen Hawking because I'm so smart, and I'm just like, okay, number one, not that smart, but number two, I'm not. Hawking and Hawkins are not the same.
More and more, you're hearing that in the media.
More and more, yeah.
More and more, yeah. All right, well,
counts on Jeff's name.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on here on Shake Them Ropes, one of the fine shows on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network.
We are indeed just fine.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of people think we're perfectly cromulent. To be completely honest,
perfectly cromulent, yes.
Yeah, an acceptable show on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network.
Acceptable. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna slag any other shows.
No. For those of you unfamiliar with our show here, we talk WWE, AEW, NXT, and of course the news of the week. Mr. Hawkins.
Oh, I thought you had some news for me. Okay, never mind. I'll get to
I was going to toss it over to you here.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us what's going on in the wild world of wrestling.
Oh, God. Yeah, perfectly cromulent. New filing from Vince McMahon. He and his legal team filed a memorandum in their case, stating furthermore, Vince McMahon's side states that Janelle Grant's initial complaint included, quote, private sexual text messages from defendant McMahon without including any of plaintiff Grant's responses to these texts. Responses which are equally and often more aggressive and provocative than defendant's communications and show that not only that the relationship was consensual, but also in many instances the plaintiff was the initiator, unquote. Additionally, McMahon claims that he no longer has the texts because he deleted them when they broke up, but he asserts that discovery will reveal that Grant sent him messages and images with sexually explicit content. The motion also states that Grant presumably still has these text messages, but claims that they were not included in her complaint because she wanted to craft a quote-unquote distorted false picture. We are now fighting this thing in the media. And I'm gonna posit something here, Chris, because I think the people analyzing this have it a little bit wrong. They are saying that Vince is saying all these things because he wants to get to arbitration. I am under the impression that their team is so confident in getting to arbitration that they're saying their piece now because anything that comes out of the arbitration has a gag order on it and can't be revealed. So he's basically making his case right now, and none of this will, because he needs to, because he wants to get back into business after this arbitration is over. Because I do think it's going to get to arbitration. I think just the simple fact of filing the lawsuit will probably null and void the clause that says anything that has to do with negotiations has to be done through arbitration. So there may not even be a hearing on all these lurid details. But I think Vince is confident in one or the other. So he's basically going to make his case that, you know, she cray, not official defense, but that's the Cliff Notes version.
and she actually likey the Vince.
She's
And
she's hot for my penis.
She
you know, it's like,
likey the
whatever.
Vince before she know likey the Vince.
Yes, and you know, when it's one of those dumb. Again, Vince has porn brain, so he thinks, you know, women are insatiable for my loins or whatever. You know, it's just like, all right, Vince, whatever. But yeah, I don't think this is to get to arbitration. I think he knows arbitration is coming, so he's just basically dumping everything out right now before.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is just a smear campaign. That's the way that this news story just kind of reads to me. I tend to believe Janelle Grant's version of this was deeply coercive and that she was sexually assaulted a lot more than the Vince McMahon version of this, where she actually loved all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a certain amount of bravery to admit to some of the things that she admitted to in the filing. I don't think her lawyer's doing any favors by talking to, say, like post wrestling and stuff. I think it's one of those things. My feeling is, in these types of cases, the people who are losing are the ones going and running and talking to the media. That's usually my thing. And since both are talking there, I think both are a little bit nervous about their case, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the venue is no, I'm with you. Like, I think the venue is on Vince's side, but the facts are not. And meanwhile, for Janelle Grant's team, the facts are on her side, but the venue isn't.
I think the facts are on her side, but I don't think the case is on her side. I still think by her signing the NDA, fully knowing, even if it was coerced or there was pressure there, but knowing that, and if she is indeed, I haven't been able to confirm this, but somewhere I read or something like that she had gone to law school or something to that effect. So, I mean, she's an officer of the court in some ways. Don't quote me on that. I might be completely incorrect. But I think the court's just going to say, you signed this? Yes. Okay, then the NDA stands. I mean, it's going to be that matter of fact to me. I hope not. But it's one of those things now where it's like everybody wants to get to the sordid details, and I think this is going to be a procedural case more than anything. But yeah, it's also interesting that Vince doesn't think that somehow Discovery could include subpoenaing his cell phone records. In some ways.
Like it's sort of naive, right? Like, oh, I deleted them. That's not. It's not how data really works.
But
Vince.
It's shrewd in saying, you know what? I bet you she still has them on her phone, and that would mean she'd have my responses and her responses, and she'd have to give all of them up without. Because I had to do this for the Discovery in the case I was involved with. I had to give them all my social media stuff talking about the people that were in charge or anything that even alluded to it, et cetera, et cetera. And I had deleted some of them, but I knew where to find them. It's not that hard to find deleted Twitter posts. If you get your entire record in there, there's a folder in there. And it's so funny because it's like the defense goes, how do I use this? I go, here you go. Oh, and by the way, you can't tell me I was trying to hide something because I'm showing you how to find what I was telling you about. Yeah, all you have to do is, I mean, it's not like Verizon. Apple are the ones who like to, who like to turn back subpoenas and stuff like that. Verizon's more than happy if you're an attorney and asking for records to give you the phone records. I assume he's not like with T-Mobile or something. I assume he's with a real carrier of some sort.
Yeah.
Cricket Wireless is not.
I'm assuming he's a real. This is the other thing. It's sort of, at one case, it's like clever to turn it back onto Janelle Grant, being like, I bet she has the records. But then it still goes back to, yeah, but so do you, dipshit. You just don't you don't understand how data works.
Well, yeah, so the boomer decided, well, this relationship's over. I'm deleting her from my phone.
Right. Well, no, or like
I did back it up on your iMac. Is that the deal? Does he never back up his phone at all? They're all on there.
Here's the thing about incriminating text messages, Jeff. If you delete them, they're no longer there. What? It's like they never happened.
Man, all those murder plans I have on my phone.
Did you delete them?
I did.
Then it's fine.
Woohoo! I'm kind of murder.
All right, Jeffrey. That's an exciting story about Vince McMahon. What else is happening in the wild world of wrestling this week?
Oh, you're gonna do this every time, huh?
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, this is the worst bit ever.
Oh, it is not. We've had worse.
Yes, we don't mention them now. As first reported by Dallas News, AEW in the city of Arlington today announced a historic partnership that will feature AEW hosting a summer series of events on the path to AEW All In from Esports Stadium in Arlington beginning January 20th. It's interesting because there are 6 cards that are going to be in this same building in this same city over the course of, it looks like 3 or 4 weeks. That is the July 20th Collision, the July 26th Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, the July 27th Collision, the Thursday, August 1st Collision taping, I assume that one's not going to be live, the August 10th Collision, and the August 17th Collision will all be from the city of Arlington at Esports Stadium. I want your initial thoughts on this.
These are all collisions, you said, right?
Yes.
Like every single. Jeez. Okay, so on one hand, Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has been a very favorable market for AEW to run in. They have an extended history there. Granted, they were doing a lot of those shows early on in Garland, not Arlington, but I don't dislike the idea generally of running a big show in Arlington. However, here's the problem with Arlington. For those of you who are not acquainted with the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro, right? You have Dallas, you have Fort Worth, and about 35-40 minutes away from Dallas and about 25-30 minutes away from Fort Worth is Arlington. It kind of sits in between them. This is to say it's not convenient to get to Arlington. Also, there is not rail access to Arlington. Also, these are B shows. I think they are overrunning this market right now. My gut tends to tell me attendance and sales will flag, especially for a series of B shows. There are undoubtedly some AEW faithful there in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro. And again, this all starts predicated on AEW having a favorable relationship with that metropolitan area. But I think the smart move for them, if they're going to run that many collisions in a row with no rampages or, like no dynamites, is you sell a 6-pack of tickets or something like that. Basically, you get that sale done where you sell the tickets as a group. Like try to come up with some sort of special, like, buy 5 or, buy 3, get 2 free or something like that.
I'm intrigued by this in one way because it feels like, this building only holds about 2,000 people from what I've been told. So it's a small building.
It would be I'm not going to say it wouldn't be a fun time if I wasn't still living there, because now you have this interesting little moment where you get to see people multiple weeks in a row. So you almost get to build a little community running that show.
Yeah. And you get to build a little territory style type thing in there. My thing is,
still think it's a bad business move. It just seems kind of fun.
It's somewhat of a bad business move, but it's also bad because you really don't have, if you were doing this in Philly in the 90s, like ECW used to, you had Philly local talent up there and everybody in the Northeast in terms of the Jersey Monster Factory, guys from the New York Indies, guys from the Philadelphia Indies up there and whatnot. There's not a lot of Texas-bred stars that you could put in here. And the one that I was thinking of, if I were going to reboot Ricky Starks again, I'd do it in Texas, but I'd do it in Austin. And I'd do 6 shows in there. And I'd just build him to be the biggest, hottest star on Collision in there. I figure you're going to get your Bryan Danielson here. I figure you're probably going to get some members of the Blackpool Combat Club at some point in Collision. But yes, this feels... you could try Thunder Rosa here, I guess, and try and heat her up again. But she's already lost to your champion. I don't... Maybe Athena. You bring her up from Ring of Honor and put her
Athena,
in
Athena would be, if you were going to reheat her and we want to get her hot to get her back on TV, this would be a great opportunity to have some nice matches. The problem with Collision continues to be the ratings. which
yes.
is going to be a story we're going to talk about here. Hard to heat anyone up if nobody's watching.
Yes, it feels very Thunder-esque in terms of, hey, Nitro's the big show, and also Thunder's on later this week.
Yes. Yeah, no, at this point, we're deep into, I mean, Thunder at least early on had some oomph to it, but we're like kind of like the late era of Thunder where it just felt like
NWO B team.
WCW Saturday night only on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something if Collision had its own identity, kind of how it was going under Punk, maybe. But yeah, I maybe the Ring of
Even
Honor
if it had its own identity, it still wouldn't have viewers. It's the same problem with the Ring of Honor. It's like, okay, like they have an identity, but no one's watching it.
True. Pro Wrestling Noah, Muda's territory, tweeting today, new announcement regarding the appointment of the new president. Target, quote, strengthen relationship with WWE. Muda, of course, went into their Hall of Fame this past year. WWE already establishing a relationship with Marigold and Rossi Ogawa. Looks like the Japanese territory is ripe for a partnership with WWE under the new head, Paul Levesque. Will it go any differently than Vince McMahon, Chris?
I think it might. I think that at least there's gonna be some goodwill towards Muda. Muda, in the last 10 years, he did that match in NXT.
I think Triple H respects Muda.
Yeah, I think Triple H respects Muda. I think so too. So I think he's at least gonna kick the tires on this. And if Muda's got something going on, he's gonna want to see what's up.
We'll see who the new president is. My joke was, Ike Manjiro can leave DDT and go over there. Double or Nothing advertising is very interesting right now. It's currently being advertised as a triple main event with Anarchy in the arena, and sandwiched on the big billboard is Mercedes and Willow, and on the other side Swerve and Christian. You have 3 main events. You don't have one. Event.
You have no main event.
You have no main events. Yes, that's my feeling about this. It feels a tiny bit desperate, but
I mean that's kind of been the vibe of the show here recently. It's just a little flailing, a little gotten to.
Viewership this week: Raw 1.589 million viewers, Dynamite 672,000, NXT 567,000, Collision 378,000. That's the combined Collision Rampage average, I believe, and Smackdown 2.128 million. Any thoughts? Dynamite under 700,000.
Yeah, Dynamite just kind of continues to cruise in this downward trajectory. I mean. I still
comfortably ahead of NXT though, so you gotta give them
what does
props.
that mean? What? No. A show is beating B show means nothing to me.
No. I was told that when they ran NXT off, that was a victory for AEW.
I will go back to what I said when this whole wrestling war began years ago. That success for AEW is breaking 1 million. Yes. And they haven't done it. They're arcing the wrong way.
They did it once.
But I mean they haven't done it in the sustaining way. And
yes,
they did it. They did it with one Phil Brooks's help. Yeah. So
wow. You can reach Chris on Instagram at DOCTOR_NOV.
Oh, stop me when I'm telling lies, to quote that same man. Stop me when I'm
come along to the Voices of Wrestling Discord and go into hashtag Shake Them Ropes. I mean, argue with him a bit.
I'm sorry. Like, the numbers are what they are. Dynamite this far in should not be sitting at 600, 700,000. They should be doing better than this. It's not. It's just what it is. And NXT. The other thing is, you look at the internals on these ratings this week. I think the more damning numbers are the uptick versus the downtick. WWE's numbers across the board year over year are up. AEW's numbers kind of across the board year over year are down.
And in the demo also, 18 to 49 is growing in WWE and shrinking in AEW, which is very interesting.
Yeah, but also does seem to track with WWE having a better product. It's a more watchable, more entertaining product on a weekly basis.
That will take us to the lazy river of wrestling criticism. Whatever we watched, whatever's on our mind, we can get to it. I'm going to posit something to you, Chris. A friend of the show, former guest, Brian O'Connell. Some may know him as my improv partner, heterosexual life mate, all that other stuff. Had a very... I focus group tested this on the Dynamite show last night. We were taping this on Thursday. And I want to get your opinion. And while I do that, let me get the exact quote for you so I can better do it. But basically, here it is: that AEW is a play that's written by the actors that are in the play. Everyone is a lead character. All dialogue is just dueling monologues. Everyone has to have equal stage time. And to quote Brian, and it sucks.
But yeah, right. Also, if people have to have death scenes, they need to be wildly over-dramatic death scenes accompanied with monologues and that sort of thing as well.
Now, don't get me wrong. I thought AEW finished strong last night because I think the Darby replacement of Eddie Kingston, who was injured in that New Japan show that where they got video of it, but he was legit injured. His leg hit a table or a guardrail or something on a hardcore spot. So yeah, he is out of Anarchy in the Arena. He was replaced by Darby Allin. And I think this is a great replacement. I don't know how Darby's walking after getting hit by a bus 2 weeks ago, but he is a pillar. And I think inserting the pillars into this story as to Team AEW versus Team Elite with Perry and Darby as kind of mirror images, given last year's Double or Nothing, which was the four-way, which was horribly built. I think we all agree on that. It was MJF and three supporting players.
I mean, to that point, it almost that feels like eons ago, and that was just last year.
Yeah,
yeah.
But overall, though, I mean, most of the show to me, you have guys talking to each other and kind of cutting promos on each other, but there's no emotional connection in it. It's like even the one that interests me the most was well, actually, that wasn't the one that interested me the most, but the Christian swerve was the one I had the highest hopes for. And it's Christian doing his character and Swerve kind of doing his character, and they're not really. It's not really an angry. They're not really angry at each other. He's chewing scenery and playing in a movie. It's a comic book.
I was thinking about what's missing with the Christian thing, right? Like, this is supposed to be a foregone conclusion feud, but if we're going to do the comic book thing, what the purpose of this chapter should be is we discover what type of champion Swerve is going to be. And watching him engage with the Mogul Embassy, I realized kind of what was missing, and it was right at the end of that cage match, which was like way too long. But at the end, when he had Cage's arm there and he's getting ready to smash Cage's arm, I was sitting there going, no, that's exactly what Swerve as this champion should have done. Everyone who betrayed him, everyone in the Mogul Embassy should have been made an example out of it. Made an example out of it. And basically Swerve should sort of be establishing himself as a babyface, yes, but one who is still ruthless in the sense that, like, if you step to him and you cross him, there is a penalty and a price to pay.
I get that, and I think you're correct. My problem is we never really established the Mogul Embassy as being tight with Swerve.
Right.
They're just co-workers.
Right. And this is actually why it makes them easy sacrificial lambs for this story. I mean, that's another big problem with the Mogul Embassy, but like, they were in theory his running mates. Yeah. They got turned against him.
They're my boys. They have my back.
No. Right. and that's where I think the mistake was made here. He's doing this at an emotional betrayal thing. This shouldn't be an emotional betrayal. This should be a business betrayal. And there's a penalty to pay for a business betrayal to Swerve Strickland. You betray him, and you get made an example. I mean, like, yes, he should have broken, like, Toa Leona's, like, ankle, Cage's arm, basically kind of said, yeah, no, you step to me. I'm going to make sure you're not a threat anymore. And I'm going to make sure you think twice before you try to be a threat to me.
He kind of destroyed the Gates Agony on Collision that nobody watched.
Right. I mean, again, the problem, and then he didn't finish off Cage.
Right.
And that's, to me, the bigger problem is I think we should have seen him we should have seen him basically pick apart Cage and kind of have fun toying with him. And
I didn't understand why we needed to give Cage so much in a match
Right.
against your world champion.
Right.
They kind of did the same thing with the women's champion match with look, I love Harley Cameron, but she shouldn't have gotten that much against friggin' Tony Storm.
Clearly that one botch spot speaks to maybe the fact that the match went on a little too long. If you edit, maybe you don't have that.
They were chanting "This is awesome" when Cage was getting the heat on Swerve.
You'll never catch me chanting "This is awesome" during a Cage match. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
No.
These guys should have all been made sacrificial lambs, and sort of the whole point of this is Christian underestimates the level of ruthlessness that Swerve is willing to go to still as babyface. I don't know, basically this feud should be about characterization, and it's not.
Yeah, and I kind of want Christian to be a little bit more, for lack of a better term, and I can't think of the term, how would he act as champion if he got the title? Like, he's already won the title, and he's already, declared himself world champion or something to that effect. There needs to be a little bit more want to be the world champion from him, as opposed to just being evil Christian making dad jokes type of a thing.
Right, yeah, that is another big problem here. He's more obsessed, frankly, with getting retribution for Nick Wayne.
Yes.
Which is the good thing, and the noble thing. Right.
It makes no damn sense.
It makes no sense. He's obsessed with the good thing rather than being obsessed with the bad thing.
Wait, hold on. Are we supposed to be rooting for Christian in this feud? Because, yeah, you want.
It's hard to feel anything other than kind of good for Nick Wayne anytime he kicks Swerve Strickland's ass, right?
Yes, you're cheering for that almost. Yeah, you remember you turned him into this, you jerk.
Right? I said, yeah, right. Like this is the monster you made, and it's now been unleashed on you. It's honestly karmic. He deserves this.
Just a freeze frame when he's up in the air. I've been hoisted by my own petard.
Yeah.
Your go, sir.
Man, I guess we can talk a little bit more on the AEW stuff here. I'm not opposed to that. Kyle Fletcher has terrible hair.
Yes.
I was noticing that all through the opening match. It was honestly kind of preoccupying.
Was that what you're going to do for your lazy rivers? Kyle Fletcher has terrible hair?
No, it's not the only thing I'm going to do here.
Okay.
Here's what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the Bucks stuff. I was just making sure I didn't want to hit something else first.
Well, before we leave Kyle Fletcher, they never told us why Jeff Cobb was there. Like, they could have explained, United Empire and, Don Callis made a call. No, it's just, you remember Jeff Cobb from 3 years ago when he was brought in to fight Moxley? It's like, no, I don't. I had a buddy who...
I don't know that you want us remembering AEW's past too heavy.
A buddy of mine's friend wrote, goes, is that Rhino? For Jeff Cobb. I'm just like, God. It's like,
they could put a wig on him and just have him use the Rhino unitard.
The first 10 minutes was Excalibur trying to get out some sort of clunky exposition as to the reason why Jeff Cobb was in this match. And he still didn't get it out properly. So, go to the Bucks. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Look, watching the Bucks match this week, I kind of stopped and I was reminded of the WCW NWO invasion angle of 96, like when it was still pretty decent and still pretty coherent. And I went back and I actually rewatched a couple of the NWO Saturday night segments.
Oh.
And look, they are really solid 7-8 minute pieces of business. They don't they overstate.
Are these the black and white ones with Pez Watley?
Yeah. They're like 7-8 minutes. At the entire I watched one where the Outsiders do it. Normally the Outsiders are doing commentary. The Outsiders did a tag match where they're just handing off the microphone back and forth to whoever's not in and doing commentary on the guys as they're having the match against them. And you've got the fake sham referee. You've got NWO guys on the outside surrounding the ring. The baby faces are completely outnumbered, and they're not even baby faces, they're just jobbers. The jobbers are completely outnumbered. It's an assault rifle versus a butter knife, and like it's a complete and total annihilation. Meanwhile, we have these Bucks matches where they're having matches that are extremely competitive against people. Chris Daniels this week, and was it Action Andretti who's the other guy?
No, it was Matt Sydal.
Matt Sydal. He looks like Action Andretti. So you have Chris Daniels and Matt Sydal, and they're up against the Bucks, and they're having a very well-worked, extraordinarily competitive match, and it does not establish the Bucks as kind of anything new. I guess we get Jack Perry on commentary, sort of fulfilling the role.
Doing nothing on commentary.
He sucks. I know. That's what I was about to say.
Although, I don't want to bury him completely because he's been awesome in actual stand-up promos. I think Jack Perry's been very, very good in stand-up promos.
But this commentary spot was
he was nothing.
He was tedious. He wasn't good. He was just annoying. Every time he talked, I'd just be like, and then he dumped the Woo energy drink on Shivani, and Taz basically laughed at him. I was just like, "What are you doing, Taz?" Taz laughed at him, and it's unfortunate because I was going to say here at the end, they actually arrived at a decent spot of business of bullying Tony Schiavone here.
Yes.
But my overarching critique of this Bucks AEW invasion takeover angle thing continues to be that they do a lot of the whats that you would do in an invasion angle, but they forget the associated whys that go with what you are doing in these invasion angles. These guys,
how are they changing AEW Dynamite for the better?
Right. And they should be altering the show constantly. Going back to the NWO 96 sort of comp, think about those Nitro shows where the NWO is running in and interfering or meddling with almost every match, where it actually is a relief when the NWO isn't meddling in a match.
Yes, where we want to see them get their butts kicked because we're just tired of them meddling in the show, and stop it, please. Yes, I want to see the Bucks get their ass beat now. There's none of that. What they're doing, and I told you this pre-show, so I'm going to say it now. The Bucks, Jericho, and Mercedes all have the same gimmick.
Disingenuous, schmarmy heels. They cop being a baby face. They're not, but it's annoying because obviously the fans see through it. So then,
it's in order to disassociate themselves from any sort of, number one, real heat, and number two, real emotion. They're playing it ironic, and it sucks because if you have one, it's great. If you have three of them, everybody's doing it. It's like, no, I want to see heels be heels.
To your point, it would be so much better right now if you had the Bucks being legitimate dickhead taking over the show heels.
Yes.
And Chris Jericho's out there being the schmarmy babyface, doing faux concern over the Bucks and hand wringing, but it's all in this disingenuous, that's not the way. I wouldn't do it like that. I'd do it differently. But it's still a different brand of disingenuous heel. Or different brand of heeldom only being done disingenuous. Essentially, authentic heeldom makes disingenuous heeldom more tangible and palatable and stronger, and vice versa. But I think the Bucks takeover angle. One other thing on this: Tony Khan and Kenny Omega, if they are going to be the force for light in all of this, need to be much more active as the force for light as characters. We should essentially be feeling the dueling clash of the good guys versus the bad guys. After Tony Khan receives a spike pile driver from his other business associates, he should be not just going on to SportsCenter in a neck brace, but preparing legal action. And Kenny Omega should be out there as an adjunct to this. And we should actually be feeling that sense of power struggle on Dynamite on a weekly basis.
No, Chris. You're supposed to be mad that they fired Christopher Daniels.
Right, a guy who we haven't seen on TV. When's the last time we've seen Daniels wrestle on Dynamite?
On Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite.
Hardly ever, no, but on
Right.
the other shows.
Well,
sometimes.
okay, but no one's watching those. So
I
when's the last
agree.
time no, I know that by the numbers. You told me them earlier. When was the last time he was on Dynamite?
A while ago.
Yeah. That's my point. So, like, then it's the same problem with Tony Khan taking the pile driver or Tony Khan having a car parked in his parking spot. If I don't love this guy, I don't give a shit that somebody's Mercedes Benz is in his parking spot.
I'm gonna put a little coda on that Chris Jericho thing. Whoever's idea it was to have Hook cut 2 promos in one night needs to be fired. Hook's whole aura is just growling and snarling, and the moment Jericho came in there and said, "You accidentally hit yourself in the head with a baseball bat," Hook should have slugged him. Should have just sat there and waited for the promo. And then the backstage promo with Joe. The most interesting man in AEW for my money. Your former world champion comes out there and dresses you down for not being serious and all these other things. And then you get a Shibata with, oh, he's too big to be wearing floral patterns. It's like, what are we're taking the one serious guy on this show and cutting him down as for a punchline. I was enraged by this segment, Chris, for some reason, because I love Joe. I think he's fantastic. And to have Shibata cutting, floral pattern jokes about and weight jokes about Joe.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. A Joe Shibata Hook tag team.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that actually does sound pretty damn fun.
As long as
Jeff.
they don't cut jokes, I'm fine with that.
No,
Get rid
I
of
know.
that phone crap.
That phone crap, right? Like this is continues to be the big problem for me with a lot of AEWs, the lack of characterization around people. Shibata using a phone to crack, little dad jokes is not a character. And moreover, is this really the presentation of Katsuyori Shibata that we think is the best presentation of Katsuyori Shibata? Like he does dad jokes on a phone?
It's all friends wrestling. I mean, that's the problem here. And you said before that we need an imposing physical heel on this program.
Mm-hmm.
Just need a Vader to beat somebody up.
No irony. I mean, and they did that.
None
with
of this strong style, dumb, no selling stuff. Just a guy that you actually believe can beat you up and then beats you up.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Authors of Pain would be a tremendous asset over in this company right now just because they're big. And then they did, they actually would serve as a meaningful contrast to most of the rest of the roster.
Yeah, because their big guys are kind of small. I mean, Wardlow and Jeff Cobb and
right, yeah. The big guys they use are like rhino-sized big guys, where like they're big, but like they're also wide big.
Yeah, I got nothing else for right now. Get something.
No, I mean, so kind of continuing on AEW here, I had a hard time sinking my teeth into really much of anything in this episode. I mean, like the Okada and Harwood.
I liked the match. I really did like that match.
It was a good match.
It's old school. People were selling. I mean, my problem with that first match with Fletcher and Cobb versus Moxley and Danielson was everybody just kept going full speed no matter how many times they got hit.
Yeah.
It never, nobody ever really took any damage. It was just go, 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 go. And you're just like, well, what's the point of doing 3 super kicks here if nobody's going to bother being hurt by the kick? I just kind of tuned out on the whole damn thing, to be honest with you, on that match.
Yeah, but meanwhile, I thought that this match was a lot better. I mean, Harwood's such a good television main event guy.
Yes.
He's so good kind of in this spot, getting the other guy over and making sure that the match has a nice ebb and flow. And he's working with Kazuchika Okada, so of course he's going to have a nice match here. And I thought the pacing was good. Nice kind of combination of high spots and submissions.
Yeah, the only hiccup for me was they were doing all the rolling, reverse pin spot, the Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a hiccup in there, and they went back to it instead of just dumping it after that. And that kind of looked awkward. But overall, that was my favorite match last night.
No, I thought it was honestly the big thing that sort of saved the show for me, because absent the fast forward button, I mean, if I had to watch this live, I would have changed the channel. I can't do a 20-minute Brian Cage match. I don't, right? Like, I don't give
Who cares about
Who
Brian
cares?
Cage?
Who cares?
Oh, it's a good wrestling match, and it's
No,
entertaining.
it's not even.
It's like it's not. That's your world.
Though.
That's your world champion going up against Brian Cage, and he's having issues with him. And he has to give Brian Cage 10 minutes worth of offense. What are you doing?
He's not. Cage doesn't have good matches. He doesn't.
He can't cut a promo. He's not that charismatic, and he's not that big.
And he's been getting a shitload of TV time recently,
Yes.
too. That's the thing that my other big problem is he keeps somehow finding his way onto my Dynamite every week.
Just
Inexplicably.
everybody just buys the presence of Brian Cage because he's, he gets his stuff in, and he can. I
would rather watch a Sid match. I think Sid had more to offer. I'm not even joking.
Sid would actually hurt you, though. That's a problem.
Yeah, and Sid's entrance kind of kicked ass. The Psycho Sid entrance is great.
I couldn't believe that I was bored by a Will Ospreay Roddy Strong promo, but I was, because they were just kind of talking at each other and it didn't really mean anything. And also, somebody on commentary needed to remind you that the Roderick Strong neck injury was fake, because he's doing a babyface promo about coming back from adversity and a neck injury, and I had forgotten that he had a fake neck injury.
Yeah, neck strong, like the whole neck. Yeah, like no, they.
I went.
No,
okay.
that really should be like Excalibur. Really should be the voice of incredulity on all of this stuff. Like I mean,
or even Aubrey, or whatever her name, the new girl who was running the promo out there should have said, well, hold on, that was a fake neck injury, and put that in there. But instead, we got Will Ospreay trying to fit in bruv 300 times.
Or Will Ospreay should be the one who calls him out on that.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, let's cut to the chase here.
Anybody in that scene should be calling out the absurdity of him doing the I hurt my neck and I came back even stronger than ever. It's like, I was thinking, I go, man, did he really have an injury or whatever? No, Jeff, it was fake, but you had forgotten about it because it was so meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like the Four Pillars match of last year. You completely forget that was the main event. Like, there's just no connection. This gets to one other point about like kind of the Bucks and like the hostile takeover sort of vibe, and that gets to commentary. There needs to be, I think, part of what makes a takeover angle feel authentic or feel like we're really being taken over is that commentary is a little besieged, and they've been, to my chagrin, recently including Don Callis on the commentary team for reasons inexplicable on a regular basis. But if there was the need to include Don Callis, and I'd argue there isn't, but the reason he should be out there is that he has been hired to be by the Young Bucks as the commentary supervisor. And he is there to keep an eye on Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, and to a lesser extent, Taz, who, of course, will default to ass-kissing Don Callis as a way of getting out of this. But
or the Bucks. I mean, that's what he did. It's so weird because he has three. It's like, I hate Chris Jericho, but I will simp for the Bucks. And it's just like, and then I'll just be a clown the rest of the time. I mean, and I tend to forgive Taz a lot, but boy, he is just phoning it in.
No, I mean,
it should be Nigel. Nigel should be out there being the absolute simp for the Bucks.
Right. And there should be, exactly, there should be sort of three reactions. Tony, who is trying to be the disciplined voice of journalism despite the ensuing chaos, and we are sort of building to a moment where he's finally had enough of this little shit Jack Perry, but he's going to try to keep it on. Excalibur, his younger colleague, who's bullshit over this, and also is a former wrestler, and part of him kind of wants to get up from that table and do something about this. Like, part of him kind of wishes he could still stand up and slap the shit out of Jack Perry.
And Nigel, who is being disingenuous the whole time, hasn't this been a great card that the Bucks have booked tonight? Haven't we had a wonderful show tonight?
Yes, and Excalibur and Nigel are kind of at each other's throats over the and it's we should be feeling that tension worked out in the booth through
Yes.
character acting done by the team as well.
Let Giovanni be the Larry Zbyszko to the NWO.
Well, that'd be more, I think that's more Excalibur's role here. Where
Okay.
Excalibur is the Larry Zbyszko in this case.
Okay.
Where he's the one.
New World Odor.
Yes, right. No. Tony needs to be trying to still be like almost kind of like guys have been through this once before. We can get like essentially kind of like
This is deja vu all over.
Right,
again
I've
for
done
me.
this before, and we but basically trying to like counsel Excalibur to not lose his shit like Larry did. Kind of like in so many words. And Excalibur's finally at the point where he just can't do that anymore. But I will say all the steam got sucked out when Excalibur was like, somebody get Tony Schiavone a mop, and then they were all obsessed over the usage of the word mop in that sentence.
Yeah,
they're doing what's and they're forgetting the whys.
yeah. Moving over to WWE on the main roster. I'm enjoying the King of the Ring thing, and they're doing an interesting strategy in that they are, for lack of a better term, they're blue balling us on matches that we're really excited about to save them for later when they'll be more important, like Ilya and Gunther.
I know, I get it. And straight up, I actually thought that Ilya and Jey Uso had a really nice match, and I wasn't sure who was going to like. It was exciting. I enjoyed that match because I wasn't sure who was going to win, and I obviously disappointed that Jey won over Ilya. But because as I said, Ilya should have been on a streak. I would have made him the unstoppable Russian for like 6 months.
And I'm interested to see which one they get out of the tournament on the SmackDown side in the women's. Are they going to find a way to get Bianca out of there because she's not quite ready yet and she's still very green? Or are they going to find a way to get Bianca out of there so that she doesn't have to face Jade?
You mean Jade?
I said Jade.
You said Bianca twice.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, I know. But other than that, look, going back to why does characterization matter? I think a lot of people's favorite wrestler this year is Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
And if somebody said that to me, that would be like kind of like one of the most uncontroversial comments you could make. His on-screen work is just endlessly entertaining, and what it does is it amplifies whatever he's doing in the ring.
Heel Liv Morgan is continuing to impress me in terms of characterization and her feud with Becky, who I love Becky, but man, I hate this man character so much.
I know. I mean, this man character kind of suffers from like the Swerve Strickland problem.
There's too much. A little bit goes a long way, but it can overpower something.
And then eventually, you kind of actually want to see other people kick the man's ass because the man's sort of an annoying personality.
Yeah. She really is. That's
the
right. Problem.
Yeah, she's annoying.
I'm going to tell you something. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay.
Like she's overbearing, like to all get out, and like Liv Morgan especially.
I never thought I'd be annoyed by Becky Lynch. I really did.
No, but she's absolutely come up with a character that it's so bombastic that it has that same Seth Rollins problem of that they're doing it at 10 and it's tedious.
Yes. And of course the Alpha Academy split is it's good. I mean,
is it a split or a turn?
I think only Chad's turning, and I think he's going to import some new people to be Alpha Academy.
Yeah, you still think import? I don't know.
I still think Creeds and Ivy Nile.
I don't think they're turning the Creeds and Nile yet. I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When they were heel the first time, Otis as just a killer was great, but now it's kind of like sympathetic Otis makes me want him to ask for Chucky back or Tucky. Where's Tucky from Heavy Machinery? I mean, it's the Farley character. I get it, and he has such a great hangdog face, but it's like I don't know. He's kind of right in abusing Tozawa and Maxine. I'm kind of here for that.
Right. I mean, this
Stop
is the
dancing.
thing.
Stop being a fool. I'm like, oh, he's a heel with a point. I'm here for this.
This is the problem. Is it wouldn't be so bad if they were actually winning, but they're losing, and he's right about why they lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm watching. I'm going, no, I think he's right here.
He's right. Yeah, he's absolutely right. You lose because you're like busy dancing and all this bullshit.
Stop
and like
doing the crowd pleasing sports entertainment and start wrestling.
yeah, just Otis, you're massive. Just crush him with a bear hug.
They're doing
Let's
an
go
AEW
home.
angle in the middle of a WWE show, which is fascinating.
Yeah. No, it's and like it's the same problem with me as Chad Gable as heel. Man,
I want to root for him.
I loved him so much as this intense baby face that they were like starting to achieve with him. That this weird like this version of him as a heel, it's not landing. And
No.
the ring work will be there, but like the character work isn't there right now, and it's unfortunate.
Sami Zayn pulled off being a heel somehow. When he and Kevin Owens decided to turn on Shane and Miz, I think it was. But I think we're at the point in Chad Gable's career where we've seen him do so many stupid things in terms of, Shorty G and Shush, being the annoying heel. And now he's the angry heel. And I think we just want one run where we really just cheer for him and he gets something out of it. Like he wins the Intercontinental title or he wins the U.S. title. And I think we're at this point where it's just like, we got to go through another characterization thing with Chad Gable where he's probably going to he's probably going to be like a manager type of figure for somebody else who's going to get a bigger push out of it. And it's just one of those things where it's like, we've been through this for so long now. Ever since he and Jason Jordan got split up. That we just want one strong babyface run with Chad Gable. That's all we ask.
Yeah, I want him to have. Honestly, I want to see Chad Gable have a banger match with Ilya Dragunov.
Ooh, I'm here for
right?
that. Yeah,
right. Like those guys. Oh, I want to see those guys go deep, like best of 7 series.
Yeah, I kind of want to see also. For some reason, Bronson Reed and Ilya.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I mean. Dude, that just gets back to the point that Ilya is just doing top-notch work right now. And I love his character work. He has this, there's just a weird intensity that he has where it's like this combination of like respectful but also menacing. And I can't say enough good things about it. You want to kick it over to NXT?
If you want, I didn't watch a lot of it.
Okay,
I did see the Heritage Cup match and I liked it.
Well, yeah, Tony D'Angelo and the Mob whacked old Charlie Dempsey. They took out his kneecaps, bada bing, bada boom.
All right, who is the babyface in this feud?
I mean, clearly they're not anymore. They're after the backstage promo where they are giving a bribe to Ava, we're still. This
that's
is
such a badass move, though. Oh, I got the fine money right here, and there's more where that came from.
No, but it's illegal bribe money. She shouldn't be taking it. She looks like a
she
chud.
fined him. She fined him $20,000. That's not
I know,
a bribe.
No, but they have the bribe
Yes,
money.
they have bribe people. Yes.
Yeah. They give it in an envelope or whatever. It's like give her the money. And then they also gave her more, which is essentially like hush money, turn a blind eye to it. If anything, Ava should have counted out the $20K and handed them back the overage, saying, like, I'm not for sale. It was a stupid thing, but like having her take the extra suggests that she got herself bribed off a little bit too, that she's on the take, which I don't think they were trying to do.
No, please, no heel commissioners in NXT.
Yeah, like the D'Angelo family is bribing everyone now to get a match against Trick Williams. No, this whole thing sucks. The D'Angelo family stuff is stupid. And to this point, then why did they beat Charlie Dempsey? Or if they're going to beat Charlie Dempsey, they needed to screw him in the match, too.
I agree. If they're heels, they should have screwed Charlie Dempsey, but they didn't.
They didn't.
Instead, we get, I don't know, David Kemp as a guy who has been locked up for a week or so and finally escaping. He's doing a very good Steve Lombardi Brooklyn Brawler cosplay. It's like the torn up sweatshirt and stuff. He looked like the Brooklyn Brawler. I howled at that.
I mean, I'm kind I'm kind of excited for No Quarter Catch Crew as like baby faces because I think Kemp and Dempsey can actually make this happen with sort of an odd charisma.
Yeah.
But I actually think being a baby face will be a good opportunity to further get Charlie Dempsey over with this crowd in terms of his work and stuff. I think we now know that he's a quality heel from the Regal family, and now we need to love him.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think especially with bringing Gallus back. Because the Gallus quote-unquote badass aura is going to last exactly 1 week.
Yeah, exactly. It never lasts because eventually you realize that it's Wolfgang and the Coffee Brothers.
Yeah, and I like them, but it's like
we've done it all with them. We've done all you can.
Putting guys out backstage, badass, love that. Have them put people out every week because I'm here for that.
And I like Joe Coffey, and I actually like Mark a lot too. Wolfie's always kind of been like the weak link, but he's not terrible. It's just like they're three guys who all do the same type of wrestling style.
Yes.
And so that's what makes the matches kind of boring because there's no gear shift when there's a tag. It's like Joe Coffey tags to Mark Coffey. Match pace and match style and match cadence stays the same. Mark tags to Wolfgang. Everything stays the same. Like there's no...
And they're big guys who leave their feet a lot, which drives me nuts at times.
Yeah, also true. And they also don't have a lot of great tandem moves.
Yeah,
tandem.
They don't do double team moves. They don't do anything like that. I mean, and also like once you put in guys that are taller, they are AEW giants. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, Joe Coffey is the quintessential AEW giant.
Yeah. I don't have any other notes, so if you have somewhere else you want to go or talk about, that's cool.
Malachi Black's new head tattoo.
Geez.
Looks exceptional. I think it does a very good job hiding the bald spot.
I am so ready to ship Malachi Black back to the WWE. I'm done with his weird, spooky take the wedding ring. Oh, and I'm going to bring you to the Ducks.
I guess you could send him back to WWE and make him the new Bray Wyatt, but like I'm done with this guy.
I'm done with all the dark spooky gimmicks because like
I am too.
TNA just did one tonight. I saw this before he came. Jonathan Gresham apparently is not like now possessed by the he has the octopus mask now and everything that he's wearing. He's looking a little bit like latter stage Muda. With that kind of lizard mask or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, a referee was coughing up black stuff after touching Gresham. I'm like, oh God.
That's spooky ooky.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm done with the spooky.
No.
The goth theater kids could just go and do goth theater stuff for all I care.
Right. I mean,
give me a Harley race. Give me a Harley race.
It's one thing when like it's like an Undertaker thing and it's really, I don't know. But even Undertaker
was kind of lame to me.
Right.
Always,
that's what I was about to stop and say. When you think about the 90s run of Undertaker, yes, there's a lot of good matches in there. And there are some decently solid angles. Like I like Undertaker Kane one. Like the build up to not the actual match, but the actual like story and everything between Undertaker and Kane. It was goofy, but it was like it worked for me.
No, and the latter stage Triple H and HBK, Hell in the Cells, Mania matches that they were doing, those were great. But to get to that, you have to get through like the rest of that streak. Like,
don't forget about the corporate ministry.
Oh, the corporate ministry.
Yeah. I mean, he put out some serious dark stinkers in his day, and
where he's a cult leader. I just remember that whole.
They crucified Steve Austin.
We had the Acolytes, we had Midian, we had the Brood. That That was like for a comic book reference. That was like some incarnation of the Masters of Evil, where you have 30 heels in all one stable, and they're
Yes.
still inept.
Yeah, right. I mean, theoretically, right? Like the Acolytes and the Undertaker and I mean, even Midian, like a couple of little henchies should have been enough for him to run completely roughshod over that
And
company.
then we joined them with The Rock and the McMahons and Briscoe and Patterson and the Big Boss Man. And although that was the best thing that came out of that was the Big Boss Man rebirthed into SWAT Boss Man, which was awesome. But
that was good. And then didn't Boss Man get crucified too? Was he the one who gets crucified?
I think so.
Yeah, it's not Austin, it's Boss Man.
They sound the same.
Stone Cold SWAT Boss Man.
Yeah, sure. Had that nice team with Buchanan too. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
okay, we're
no.
rambling now. We need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
It's been Shake Them Ropes. You can follow me at CrapGame13 on Twitter. You can follow the show at Shake Them Ropes. I only update that page when a show comes out. So if you just want to follow the show there, we can do it that way. Chris is only on Instagram at DOCTOR_NOV. We are part of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. See how we tape next week. I have to talk to you about that, Chris, by the way. Listen to all shows. We have a bunch of stuff. If you like Japanese wrestling, we got shows for you. If you like Old Thunders, we got that. If you want something a little more positive on AEW, go listen to The Good, Bad, the Hungry. Of course, we have the flagship with Joe and Rich. I am also on Fight Game Media. I do a show called The Dynamite Show where I deconstruct Dynamite every single segment for a good hour and a half with one Paul Fontaine. We go live on YouTube about 20 minutes after the show ends. Drops in your podcatchers on the following morning. Chris is going to tell you about his life right now.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank my guest today on Shake Them Ropes, Jeffrey Hawkins. Make sure to go and check out his other podcast on fightmalot.com and
Fight Game Media. Let's get it right.
Fightgamemedia.com.org. .web. And remember, people, listen to our other fine shows here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Of course, the flagship, the good, the bad, and the hungry, just to name a couple. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's DOCTOR_NOV. For Jeff Hawkins, I am Christopher Brino, and I want to say to all of you, keep on reaching for the stars and keep dreaming those dreams.
Thanks, Casey.